Okay, Shalom Ubracha. We are finally getting back to Likutey Moharan, lesson 24, paragraph number 8. We've been off this class for, wow, 1, 2, 3, over 3 months. Finally, we're getting back into it, B'ezrat Hashem. So because of that, we're gonna have to recap a bit of this section, even though we've done it a few times. This paragraph and this lesson, but this paragraph is very, very delicate. It deals with the deepest secrets of creation. And the deepest secrets of creation, believe it or not, are something that every person goes through on a daily basis. In other words, the challenges that we go through on a daily basis are reflecting, believe it or not, the deepest parts of creation. So on one hand, a person thinks that he's wasting his life, he's wasting his time, nothing's moving forward because he has so many setbacks and collisions and difficulties. But the truth is that what he's going through is reflecting the beginning of creation. Just look at last week's parsha. The end of last week's parsha, Parshat Vayishlach, deals with the kings who ruled before there was a king in Israel. And the Kabbalah takes this piece of the kings who were ruling in Israel in Edom before Israel, and it builds a whole thing of the secret of the creation, that there was what's called Shirat HaKelim, the shattering of the vessels, and involves the death of the 8 kings, which refer to these 8 kings at the end of Parshat Vayishlach, Mitat HaMelachim. And the idea is that the initial way Hashem created the world is that it had a built-in flaw, that Hashem knew purposely wasn't going to stand up to the test of being a vessel for the light of creation, and that's why there was a crash. Hashem put in light to the way that He set up the vessels of the creation, and when He put in the light, they were individual, they weren't connected. So they crashed. And now the result shows, and the Zohar shows that this is hinted to the death of these 8 kings mentioned in the end of last week's Parsha Vayishlach. Go figure that out, okay? However, it's pretty deep, and that we're going through these Parshas now. And plus, everybody's going through what they're going through, especially now. So many crazy things are happening in the world simultaneously. So a person has to really, really just hold on and have emunah that what he's going through in life, the challenges, touches upon the deepest parts of creation. Even though the person would prefer to be full-time learning Torah and full-time connected to Hashem and full-time in doing Torah and mitzvot and good deeds like we're taught we're supposed to do. However, Hashem has higher plans, bigger plans for us, and He takes us away from having a normal life. Plus, don't forget, we're in Galut, we're still in exile, so nothing anyways can be perfect and right like it should be in the right place. So our job now is to really just to hold on, to believe that what we're going through is going to activate the greatest rectifications in the world. And that's why these things are happening now before Mashiach comes. I was on a 3-week tour of North America, 2.5 weeks, including the flights. It was about 3 weeks. And the point that was being made across again and again is that now before Mashiach comes, we're going through a lot of difficulties and challenges which match the level of karet. Karet meaning excision, being cut off. There's the halacha karet, when people do things like transgress Shabbat, or certain sexual transgressions with nida, or wasting of seed, and other things which are unfortunately very common today by Jewish people. And it seems that people like this left and right are chayav karet. And also on a spiritual level, on a personal level, people feel cut off. They feel their davening is getting them nowhere, their Torah study is getting them nowhere. They're not advancing in their midot and their activity, so they feel the type of what's called karet. And the question is, why, Hashem? Why such unbearable tests? Why such unbelievable tests? People are being tested like crazy today, and the level of people, the level of descent into, God forbid, Yeush, which means to feel futility and give up, is so overpowering by many people today. And you begin to wonder, Hashem, so what do you want of us? So Rav Nosson goes into this, that the reason why people are so much into karet is because our job now is to rearrange karet to keter, the same letters. That the only way now to fix the keter, which is what the main theme we've been speaking about these past months and months and months and months, at this point of the lesson, is that for the keter to be activated, a person needs a descent into the realm of karet, chas v'shalom. And that's the only logical or strong explanation to give a person enough chizuk to hold on and not to give up with all the crazy things he's going through. He's going through karet, all types of karet, chas v'shalom, if it's the spiritual one or actual the halachic karet, and it's very bad. And the only way to help these situations, the only way is to aim for the highest, which means to connect to the keter. And we're in a situation today where it doesn't help standard Judaism. Go ask your Rav, go do this. I met a girl, she's 38 years old. She's gone on 200 shidduchim, and she's not married yet. And she thought for sure by now she'd be married with a family. She always wanted a family. The girls in her class, they're all married, religious, and have kids. And she's stuck, 38 years old, no kids. And she's tried everything. She did the 40-day nishmat. She did hafrashat chala. I think she went to Reb Shayele. She did everything. She giving tzedakah to Kever Rachel. Have someone daven for the kotel 40 days. Kabbalat Shabbat yoter. More keeping Shabbat. And then you say, oh, but you didn't do that. You don't. So okay. And what if she does what you suggest? You say, oh, you did all of it, but you didn't do this. You didn't go to Ummah and like that. Okay, and she does it, and still nothing happens. So now you're in trouble. You're in trouble. I listened to you. I did what you told me to do. So you can't say they're not doing anything. They're doing everything that's on the table. They did everything. I did this. I did that. I did nishmat. Thank you Hashem 40 days. I did all the things. Tikkun HaKlali. I did everything, and nothing's moving. So how do you help these people? What do you tell them? Okay, daven more. And they're davening. I'll daven for you. Okay, they have people davening for them. Nothing's moving. Well, so what? So you begin to wonder. So Hashem, what do you want from these people? You give them impossible tasks. You give them something impossible to handle. What in the world? So in this lesson, he's revealing that the key is to connect to the keter. The keter is above everything you can do. It's reaching a level of not doing, because you can't do anything at the level of keter. It's not you. But connecting to the keter requires that a person go full force into simcha. Full force into being happy and being besimcha, and activating the simcha into the mitzvot, and that goes up to the keter, like the pasuk we brought many times. Besimchat olam al rosham. The simchat olam, the simcha that a Jew works hard to be happy in the craziness of this world, in the mundanity, while in the olam, here he's happy, there he's happy, there he tells a joke, here he smiles. That simcha accumulates amongst the olam while you're still in the world, in the craziness of the world. What's the reward? Al rosham. You get to the keter, which is on the head. Al rosham. Okay, and the way the keter works, even when you get to the keter, you're pushed back. And you begin to wonder, it's not enough what I had to go through until I got to the keter. You push me back again, and the answer is yes. Because the pushback is now the preparation for the real simcha, the real kedusha, the real salvation. So now, because you've proved that you can be besimcha, and you get to the keter, and it pushes you back, now, B'ezrat Hashem, you're ready for the next stage of having the salvation of the light of the keter, which basically means, on a practical level, having clarity in life. The problem with people, us, is that we have like 5,000 buttons in front of our face, and we don't know which is the right one. The whole problem is we don't see clear what's the right thing to do. There's 5,000 things you can do, and only one of them is the right solution, and you don't know what to do. You ask this Rav, you ask that Rav, I did this, you don't know what to do. And you're mamash lost. The keter affords Or Ein Sof, which is light. That light shines clarity, and now you begin to see, this is what I have to do, this is the right thing. And you click on the right button. Or, we said even better, there's no solution, and the Or Ein Sof, the light of the keter, creates an opening that wasn't there in the first place. Like the story we said over and over again of Rav Zusha and Rav Elimelech, that the solution came about because they were besimcha. Okay? So this is what Rabbeinu is going into now. Why this lesson is so pertinent for today. Because many people are going through a lot of sadness. So because they're sad, already they've blocked all light to have clarity and hope in life. Because everything is dependent on simcha. So because of that, Rabbi Nachman puts his foot down and says, you have to work on the simcha. You have to work on being besimcha, whatever it takes. Obviously not to do averot, but telling jokes, go all the way. We said the music, the dancing, all the way. Finding your good points, being positive, giving thanks to Hashem, looking at the final picture, that in the final end, everything will be working out, everything. So if everything's going to work out, why are you plotting now? If you know you're going to have a complete rectification at the end, after whatever it takes, Hashem's going to clean you and bring you to your true potential. So holding on with simcha really, really is the key. And we said this many times, that many Holocaust survivors, the reason they were able to continue life and start again is because they took on the attitude of being besimcha. If it wasn't for that, they would never have made it. The first Holocaust survivor who arrived to the office of Agudat Yisrael in New York in 1946 or 47, he was a Breslover, Rav Berach Rubinson from Poland. He lost his entire family. He lost his wife. He had like 5-6 kids. And he remarried. He was already a bit older. He was like in his late 40s already when he got married a second time in America to start again life. Okay? So when he came, and the Aguda people, Moshe Sher, that was the name of the head of the Aguda back then, they didn't know what to expect because they heard all the terrible things that happened for the survivors, and they had no idea what to expect because these people were traumatized. Not only did the Nazis kill everything, but they made them suffer, traumatized, the suffering they went through, the pain, the agony, the torture. So they didn't know what to expect. So Rabbi walks into the office and he sees these American Jews, religious Jews. He takes their hand and he starts dancing with them. And he danced to words in Tehillim, Zedim helitzuni ad meod. The wicked, they try very much to mock me and bring me down, but they couldn't succeed. It's like a pasuk from Kapitel 119. And he told them, they took away everything from me, the Germans. But they couldn't, but they didn't take away my hope and my simcha and my hope, my knowledge that everything's going to be good. That they couldn't take away from me. So the guy Moshe Sher said, I'll never in my life forget that. We all started crying with him, he said. And I'll never forget that moment of, triumph, of such nechama. A Jew lost everything and he was tortured and he was like a skeleton. And yet he was holding on and willing to start again. He said, that's unbelievable power. A regular Jew can't do that. Okay, you need some supernatural koach to do that. That's the koach of the keter also, by the way. So, with all that said, we have to again just to review. Huh?
What does that have to do with Hanukkah?
You want Hanukkah? Afterwards we'll connect to Hanukkah. We have more time to Hanukkah. Hanukkah basically is lighting the Or Ein Sof in darkness. In the darkness of the year. The beginning of the darkest months. You're lighting the light of Hanukkah, means shining that light, and it's true simcha because it's days of Hoda'ah. Hanukkah is Hoda'ah, which is simcha. You're giving thanks for every drop of good, and that activates the light of the infinite light that's shining in the darkness, showing you that there's meaning, and there's hope, and there's light, and there's clarity, and you'll get out of what you're stuck in. That's a nutshell. We'll go into more of that, B'ezrat Hashem, in future classes. So for now. Let's just do a quick recap from the beginning. We've done this already so many times because we started again and again trying to get through this lesson. This, I'm telling you already, and I've said it many times, is the most difficult paragraph of the whole Torah. This is like the goal of the whole Torah is this paragraph. It's difficult, and it seems that's why I'm having such difficulty getting on with it because it's massive. But at least let's try to just recap quickly and get to where we're holding today, B'ezrat Hashem. So the beginning of paragraph 8, again, we're learning Likutey Moharan, lesson 24. When a person, he makes and rectifies the settling and organization of the mind, which is haketer, which is what we call the keter. The keter causes a person to wait, to stop. By pushing him back, the person is delayed. And this delay is for his own benefit, to settle his mind. So when a person does it, creates the keter by doing and rectifying the settling and organization of the mind by being besimcha, so that activates the keter, and it's done properly, karaui, okay? Meaning he accepts the setback that allows the keter to do its job. And then when this happens, still the person's mind is racing to go forward. And the person's mind is still racing to pursue the infinite light because the person wants light. He wants out of a situation, okay? And like we said, the keter is me'akev. It's refraining, preventing the intellect from advancing. Okay? That's a new term we used. He said until now, Me'ashev Mesader. And the keter is what's refraining the mind from running forward. And why does the keter do that? Like we said, Kedei li'ashev et hasechel, in order to settle the mind. In other words, the keter is doing something for the benefit of the person. In order for the person to be a vessel to receive light, the mind has to be settled. And when a person is pursuing the light, he's not settled. So then what do you want him to do? On one hand, he's running after the light because he needs light, but you're telling him he can't be in running mode, he has to be in settled mode. So what do you want? So if he's running after the light because he needs it, but you say, in order for the light to enter, it has to be settled. Okay, but he's doing the right thing. He's running after the light. No, that's not the way though. He has to be settled. So what do you want him to do? This is why it's against logic. The pushback, the ma'akev, is to force the settlement of the mind. It forced him to be settled by pushing him back. And through these two stages, which are really one, which is the running of the mind, and then the keter preventing the mind from advancing. So what happens, like we said already, as I makeh, one second, how do we get there? 868. Makeh hamochin v'hameashev v'hameasader. Okay? So it hits into the meashev mesader. The mind, the person's mind, bumps into the keter, which is settling and organizing the mind. And this creates v'nasin hechalin le'or ein sof. This creates chambers that within this hechal, it's like a vessel to receive within it the infinite light, which is the light that a person is looking for, the clarity he needs. Because remember, the darkness people are facing today, which is karet, only the Or Ein Sof can help them. Only the highest level possible can help people today. That's it. Nothing less. Because again, we're in the test of the karet, of the keter. We're preparing for the final stages before Mashiach comes. So only the keter can help. And that's the accessing the infinite light. So the pushback allows for these chambers of the infinite light to be made. So it's as if you create something. He said, but this something is really nothing. It's inaccessible. Nonetheless, these 9 chambers that are made, due to the pushback of the keter, the person is running to pursue, and the keter is what pushes the person back. He's working so hard to try to find out. He wants light in his situation. It's painful. So he's going forward with thrust, with energy, okay? And yet, it's unattainable. He has something which he can't even grasp. It's not known, these 9 chambers. And they don't make themselves known. And yet, it's created and made by the person. He's not even aware about it because it's so distant from him. But it's made from the setback. On a practical level, this means the setbacks you're going through in life, you have to believe that you're creating hechalot for the infinite light. If you're a sincere Jew, you're trying to do good, trying to be good, trying to be happy, trying to be positive, and still you go through many setbacks in life, many disappointments, many things that hurt and push you back, push you away, and you don't see anything. You don't see any benefit from it. You feel miserable, you feel dark, you feel gloomy, you feel worthless because of it. He's telling you here, so what? That's not the proof that nothing was done. These chambers that you're creating, they're not known. They're not knowable. You don't access them. You don't see them. They're there. They're going to make for you the benefit. They're going to create for you openings for the infinite light, which you need, but you have no idea what's happening. That's what he's saying here. And it's a test because you don't see anything, and you're told to believe that something is happening. Something amazing is happening. Not something, oh, it's okay, Gamzalotova. This is something big. You're creating 9 chambers here. Okay? So he says, Kamuva bazohar parshat Noach. Everything Rabbeinu was saying is taken from the Zohar. I gave a class in Chicago, and there was some guy who was like a chacham or uber chacham, I don't know what you want to call him, and he said this idea of the betisha and the pushback, I've never heard it before. Where's it from? So I said, Rabbi Nachman is explaining. He said, yeah, but where does he get it from? So he squeezed me. He said, it's from the most difficult section of the Zohar, Zohar Parshat Noach, page 65a. That's where the Zohar talks about this thing. And all the commentaries on the Zohar have a difficulty explaining this piece. Rabbi Nachman comes along and gives a practical explanation of this deep Zohar. But everyone else, they can't give an easy, clear explanation of this piece of the Zohar. He offers clear advice from pieces of that Zohar, but he doesn't explain word for word. You can afterwards go back to the Zohar and try to piece together based on how Rabbeinu explains in Likutey Moharan, but on your own, it's a very it's a very difficult piece of the Zohar. And that's where it goes into this idea of the setbacks. And again, the setbacks you're facing in life, the average Jew who's trying to do good stuff and he has major obstacles, major frustrations, and he doesn't know anymore how to interpret what's happening and what to do. And here Rabbeinu is telling us here, you got to believe that you made 9 chambers and the light will now come to you through that. Through the not knowing comes an opening. Crazy. Okay? And it's at the highest level. It's at the highest level. This is what people haven't tried. They've tried everything. I said 40 days this, that, but this they didn't try. Of believing that the setbacks I'm going through in life, after trying to be good and being besimcha and being positive and everything, and the setbacks I face after that, is really creating now the opening of my salvation. I don't see anything. What? I don't see. It's happening. That's what he's saying here. Kamuva Bazor Parshat Noach. This is where we're holding now. Okay? We, in the last class, if you remember, we actually looked inside the Zohar word for word from the Hebrew translation, and we saw that we can understand all what's flying. You understand that all what's flying. You can try. Matok Midrash, does his best in trying to bring down the Zohar. Still, he says himself, it's difficult. Kamuva Bazor Parshat Noach, as is brought down in the Zohar Parshat Noach, page 65a, where he says, Umigo hai prisa, birdifa de hai machshava. And from within this prisa, we're going to see what a prisa means. Prisa means like a curtain. And from within this prisa, in the running of this, the second this, the high, is not the same this as the prisa. And from within, number 1, this prisa, which is number 1. In the process of birdifa de high machshava, in the running of 2, this thought, the machshava, is running, okay, from within the prisa. That means the mind is running to go within this curtain, this vilon, this prisa, okay? Matey ve'lamate. Matey ve'lamate is basically the result. In other words, the machshava, the thought, is running into the prisa, okay? And then what's created is what's called reaching and not reaching. This requires a lot of explanation, okay? First of all, what does it mean from within the prisa? The prisa is understood to be the keter. He's going to say coming up, why is the keter called a curtain? Because the keter serves as a partition between Hashem, blessed be He, and the rest of the creation. So it's like a curtain, a separation. So what does it mean, and from within? So the Kabbalah says, I think we went into this maybe once, the Kabbalah says that the keter has 3 sections. There's the bottom rim of the keter, like on a human being. When you put a crown on the king's head. So you have the bottom rim, which is touching the head. It's on the bottom. Then you have the middle part of the crown, which has all the meat, the diamonds, the jewels. All the beautiful part of the crown is in the middle part. And then on the top of the crown, normally the king has what's called kotzim, spitzes. And they're pointing upwards, ideally to Hashem. Okay? So what happens is, the first 2 sections of the keter, the mind can penetrate. You have the bottom, which is called atik, the middle part is called arich anpin, and the top part, the spitzes on top, the kotzim, are called tzachtzachot, splendor. So when the person's mind is running forward because he was happy and he's full of enthusiasm and encouragement and he's starting again in life and he has simcha and he's going forward, okay? So he hits the keter. Hitting the keter means like a rubber wall. When a car going at 100 kilometers per hour hits a rubber wall, it goes into technically a part of the rubber wall, but it's important, there's only up to how much it can because it's a strong rubber wall. It's like a brick wall. It's not a brick wall. It's like a rubber wall. So it goes bouncing into it. So it goes in a little, but then the rest of the rubber wall pushes it back. Okay? So in this case, the person's mind is able to touch the first 2 levels of the crown, which is Atik and Arich Anpin. But the top part, which is called tzachtzachot, it can't at all access, and that's when it pushes it back. There, at that point, it's like stone. The stone part of the keter, the hard part, is the spitz part, which is like metal and like spitz on top. That you can't access. The middle part of the crown has velvet on it. The bottom rim of the crown, even if it's metal gold, let's say, but you can't put the metal on the king's head. It has to have padding. You have to put padding on the head of the king so it doesn't hurt him. So the first two are comfortable parts of the keter, but the top part is all spitzes. It's all metal and sharp and everything. That's like a wall. So when a person is running 100 kilometers per hour into the keter, because he's on a run. So the keter allows him to enter partially. He touches the bottom rim of the keter, the middle part of the keter, but the third part, no, you can't get into it. So the guy's coming here to tell him the code. If you can hear me, the code is to the door is 5555. 5555, right? Okay. So this is what he's saying here, migo. The Zohar is very precise on its word. And from within, hide prisa, from within this curtain. Why from within? Because yes, the person's mind, when it's running on a roll to gain light, because all the person wants is light. He wants out. I want out of this darkness. That's what people are. Hashem created people that they can't stand the darkness. It's normal. Nobody can stand darkness. How could a person accept to be closed up in a little prison cell, black like this, for like 20 years? He can't. Everybody wants out. Nobody would want to stay there. Everybody wants out. Okay? So the mind is racing. It's racing to get that light. So the wording the Zohar, from within the curtain. Why is it within? Because the machshava is penetrating to a degree, but like a rubber wall. The third part of the third section is stone. You won't be able to get in there. No way. That's when it's an actual wall. In order to stop the collision, it's rubber. It goes in without destroying the car, let's say the person's mind. So he's allowed to go into the first two sections. But then the keter's top part, the tzachtzachot, pushes him back. It's a wall. There at that point, their first and second section, they're the ones who bring him back. The third party can't at all penetrate. That's when it's a mamshon. But the first and second sections of the keter, the arich anpim, the atik arich anpim, they've caused the momentum to go slow, and then it reaches the third part, tzachtzachot, it's at a stop. And he can't go further because it's a wall. It's a mamash a stone wall, and it'll be mamash a crash. Okay? And that's what bounces him back, is that the first and second section kept him on the brakes. They started the brakes to work out until he gets to the last third. That's when the total brakes. Now he can't go forward anymore, and then they push him back. So umigo, high, prisa, and from within this curtain, while berdifa, the high machshava, while this thought, the thought that's initialized by the simcha, the person's intellect, and it's running, okay, and it's running to the extent it actually entered the prisa. So because it entered and then it's pushed back, we call it Matey veLo Matey. It reaches and not reaches. It reaches the third level of the keter, which is tzachtzachot. Once you tap into tzachtzachot, we're going to go into this, that accesses automatically the infinite light. The top, there's a whole discussion in the Ramak. Crazy, I'm learning it now. In the Ramak and the Ari, it's a big, deep discussion. If the top part of the keter is already the infinite light itself. And that's the conclusion it is. It's called orota tzachtzachot. Even though it's part of the keter, it's already accessing the infinite light in the keter. Okay? So once you access this top part of the keter, tzachtzachot, you've accessed the infinite light. That's why there has to be a wall. So he says, Rabbeinu, it's Matey veLo Matey. You reached because you actually touched the wall of the tzachtzachot, the crown, the top part of the crown. It's like you're putting your head in the crown. That's a good analogy. Your head is going into the first section, fine. The second section, fine. But the top part of the crown, no. You can't put your head in there. The head of the king, of the person, can't go into the third section, the upper third of the crown. It fits on the bottom part, the rim. The middle part, fine. That's already covering his forehead and the skull. But the top part is like a shtreimel. It's above the head. It's way above the head, okay? So Matey veLo Matey. What in the world is this thing Matey veLo Matey? Reaching and not reaching happen at the same time. It's above logic. How could you reach and not reach? It's simultaneously. It's happening at once. You've reached, but you haven't reached. How do you say that? That's that's against logic. That's what it's not rational at all to figure this out. I think he's trying to find where it is. Yeah.
There's a Musa, let's say a fighter jet.
Speak up so I can hear you.
There's a fighter jet
Yeah.
that travels so fast, your
Right.
eyes see it, but your mind doesn't process
Doesn't process it. Okay.
This is the opposite. Your mind processes it, but you don't realize it.
There's not even processing it. There's no processing. He
So
says
what
la
is it?
yediya v'la yetiada. There's
So
no.
what happened?
So it's
Something happened.
you reach something, but you're pushed back instantaneously. The same moment you were pushed
So
back.
you don't get any
Anything. That's what he
anything
said.
from it?
La yediya. He said before.
It's not known, but you don't have any like Hoshim.
No, you don't have Rosh Hashanah at this point. You have nothing. And I said, La yediya, la yediya, you have nothing. You have absolutely nothing in it. Right? Not yet, no. He's still outside. He's walking outside trying to find how to get in. I hope he finds the way. Look where he is. Huh? He's by the Wafle. He's by the stores here. He's on Yirmiyahu. He doesn't know how to get in. There's a door. Can you hear me? There's a door, a metal door, and you just punch in 5555 and you go in. And he has to go down one floor? Okay. You'll see him. He's wearing a gray sweater. Okay. Let's look at this inside. Look at the Zohar inside. Sorry for that. I just want to read you what we read in Hebrew in the BRI translation here. It says like this. As is brought in the Zohar, the portion of Noach, 65a. Again, this is very deep. That's why we have to be very careful just on getting the ideas clear. And from inside this curtain, like we translated, like we said, inside this curtain, because you were actually entered into it already, a portion of it, through the chasing of the upper thought. The upper thought is what we're explaining is an activation of a person's mochin, intellect, due to his encouragement and his simcha to a certain degree. Okay? So that's why it's called upper thought, because as opposed to lower thoughts, the person is not accessing the true intellect. It's very like heavy and down because he's in a down mood and everything is constricted, so he can't think clearly. As opposed to that, when a person works on being besimcha, and the result is a person has like some type of a boost. If it was through telling a joke, music, something is uplifted. What's uplifted in all these cases of joy? The person's mind. That's what's uplifted. And it allows a person to get back up on his feet and to go forward, not to be slothy and heavy and depressed and down. Okay? It's all there just to push him up forwards, B'ezat Hashem. So we call this the upper thought. That's what the Zohar is terminology of the machshava, that reaches and does not reach. Okay, fine. So I just want to read to you what Rav Chaim Kramer says on the words reaching and not reaching. Okay? He says here, 59, note 59. Here we go. The curtain to which the Zohar refers is Keter, from which the chambers are formed. Like we spoke about, the 9 chambers. So originally, Rav Chaim Kramer goes on the direction that this applies especially and almost exclusively to the tzaddik. However, Rav Nosson adds afterwards that every Jew, according to how much he's connected to these tzaddikim, has this happening to him also on a personal level. So we can interpret it on a personal level, but you have to remember that ultimately this is happening by the tzaddikim, and you, depending on how much you follow the advice of the tzaddikim, especially the advice to be happy and to be positive and to be besimcha, you have this process taking place inside of you, and you need it. You need the keter. Everybody today, with what they're going through today, needs access to the keter. Okay? Now that the tzaddik has created these chambers, in other words, attained these extremely lofty levels, he reaches for even greater heights, those above the keter. However, although he does reach it, he does not truly reach it. Although he does attain it, he does not truly attain it. This is the concept of Matey, veLo Matey. Reaching and not reaching. Look what he says here. I'm going to explain this better, or more. In a broader sense, Matey veLo Matey can be likened to one who, by stretching himself to the limit, you're pulling to the limit, you can touch something. Here I can't touch it. I have to extend my arm and touch the item. I can't bring it to me, but I'm touching it. So look what he says. Stretching himself to the limit, is able to touch something he desires, even though he may have touched it, he has at best only touched it. It's not part of you. It's not internalized. The object remains beyond his actual reach. He has not yet grasped it. So with this in mind, amazing. Matey, veLo Matey is reaching and not reaching. In other words, in and out. What does that mean, in and out? It's not a part of you. It's like in and out. It's like a flash. You touched it, you accessed something, but you haven't internalized it. So you're touching it, but it's not a part of you. You can reach it, but it's again, you have to stretch to connect to it, and then afterwards you have to bring back your arm. You can't stay like this the whole time. Pulling and pulling and pulling. How much can you stay like that? So you're touching an item which is way beyond your reach, but you're touching it. But again, you can't do anything about it. You have to afterwards bring back your arm, and you have to leave the item there. This is Matey, veLo Matey. Now, to help understand this even better, Rav Nosson brings a pasuk to explain Matey, veLo Matey. Achat sha'alti me'et Hashem, ota avakesh, shivti bevet Hashem, kol yemei chayai, lachazot benoam Hashem, ulvaker behechalo. Right? So David HaMelech says, I have one request. But then in the pasuk he mentions two requests. I think we mentioned this once from Gedali Koenig, how he explains this idea. So achat sha'alti me'et Hashem, I have one request from Hashem. Ota avakesh, I will ask it. That's also a question. Why does he have to say twice? Achat sha'alti me'et Hashem, ota avakesh. Just say, King David, achat sha'alti me'et Hashem, and then say what it is. Why do you have to say again, and it I will avakesh? So the Mefarshim on this pasuk say, it's one thing to ask something, but when you ask for it again and again, that shows that you're serious. So King David said, I have one request, and I will keep on nudging you, Hashem, until I get it. Ota avakesh, I'll be mevakesh it. I'll keep on bothering you, Hashem, nudging you with this request until I get it internalized. So achat sha'alti me'et Hashem, ota avakesh, I'm going to be mevakesh it. What is it? Something which everything else in life is dependent upon. These two opposites. Shivti bevet Hashem, settling in the house of Hashem, all the days of my life, that I should be settled in the house of Hashem. That means I'm inside, I'm internalized. But then he goes on, so that's one request. And then he says, lachazot, and yet to see, which means from far, because chazon is a prophecy which is from far. Chazon Ovadia, chazon Yeshayahu. It's chazon is you're seeing from far. Lachazot means you envision, but it's not clear, it's not here, it's far. So lachazot benoam Hashem, to vision from far, the Noam of Hashem. The Zohar says on the word Noam, I forgot exactly who the names are, but it refers to three angels beginning with Nun, Ayin, and Mem. That's Noam. They make up Noam, and you can't connect to them because they're high angels. All you can do is lachazot, to see them from far. And they're the ones responsible for bringing the pleasantness into this world. They're called Noam. Okay? So lachazot, I'm seeing from far the Noam, the pleasantness of Hashem, which in our context relates to having the challenges and the difficulties and the traumas that I'm going through settled, figured out. So lachazot benoam Hashem, so I can see the pleasantness of Hashem coming in, and I should visit in His chamber. Levaker is to visit. Leshev is to be settled down. Right? It's shivti bevet Hashem means to sit down. That's like Matey. And then ulvaker bechalo, and I should visit like bikur cholim. Levaker means to come visit the sick. Bikur. Levaker means to visit. I mean, it's not fixed in. It's in and out, in and out. So levaker in His chamber. You just said now Beit Hashem. I should sit in the house of God, but I'm visiting in His chamber. Hechalo. It's like visiting. I'm not inside. So he said one request, which is really two things. You said, I have one request, King David. Okay, so what's the one request? And then you say two things. You say shifti bebeit Hashem, and you say levaker bechalo. But those are two things: to sit in the house of God, and then to visit, to levaker, to visit and to visit His chamber. Those are two requests. So from here, he says it's really one item. It's one that has two parts which are totally irrational how they fit. On one hand, you're shifti bebeit Hashem, you're settled, you're connected. On the other hand, you're just mevaker bechalo. You're just visiting the chamber, okay? So they explain, depending on where you're holding in life, after you finished your struggles of this world, you'll be shifty b'veit Hashem. But in this world, it's only levaker bechalo. It's one thing. For the person who's already after the tests, he's already shifted b'veit Hashem. He's already settled in the house of God. Okay, that means he's in the deal. Everything's working fine. The process, the mechanisms are working to get advancing, no problem. But in the meantime, in this world, the only thing I can access is Hechal. The nine chambers are called Hechalot. So all I can do is visit into them, Levaker. I can't connect to them. That's what he said. That these chambers that are made by being bounced back, La Yedia V'la Ityada. They're non-accessible. They're not known. You can't know them. They're not knowable, and they don't make themselves known. So you're just a visitor. Levaker Bechalo. In the Hechal, you're just visiting in and out visiting, but you have no access to it. Okay? So it's two, which is really one. Our focus on this pasuk is the second part. But that's the explanation of Matey, veLo Matey. Matey is shifty b'veit Hashem. I got it. I'm touched. Like I'm now sitting inside it. But then Lo Matey, Levaker Bechalo. I'm still in this world, so I can't now have shifty b'veit Hashem. It's Levaker Bechalo. So what is it? Decide it, this or that. It's both. Can't explain it. It's both. Okay. What's your job? Is to believe that that's one. That it's really one. That both are one. That's the trick now. To do that, you need major emunah, and to get to that emunah, you need to be someone who's so firmly fixed in being besimcha, so that when this pushback hits you, you immediately take it properly. I'm not holding anywhere. I'm going to say something very funny. On this trip that I took now, I was in America for 2.5 weeks on a tour, spreading this lesson. So the return flight had an 11-hour stopover in Paris. What in the world am I going to do 11 hours in Paris? And stay in the airport the whole day is ridiculous. And I want to go to the mikveh, and I want to daven. The flight landed, Baruch Hashem, before the end of davening shacharit. So I had time, technically, to get a taxi and to go to maybe some shul. So, Mina Shamayim, I met someone in Los Angeles who gave me the number of a guy, and he gave me a number of a religious driver who said, no problem, I'll pick you up, I'll be waiting for you, and I'll take you first to the mikveh, and then to a shul. Great. So, by the time I landed, until I got out of the airport, took an hour. So, I landed 8:15 in France. 8:15 is like, Nets is like 8 o'clock. So, it's like right after Nets, it's late. Okay? So, I'm getting out of the plane, and I'm in a rush to go to get the taxi. He's waiting for the driver, already is there. He came even before the time, Baruch Hashem. And he's waiting for me. He's waiting an hour. In total, until I came out, he waited in total an hour for me. So by the time I got out, it was like 9:15. And I'm now rushing, because the day in France is very short. You know, Sovzman Tfila, fine, 12:45, not bad. 12:45 is, sorry, Chatzot Yom. Noon, Halacha is 12:45. Sovzman Tfila is like 11:20. I want to catch mikveh that before 11:20, okay? So he picks me up, and it takes like a 45-minute drive because there's a bit of traffic. So we get to the mikveh, and we got there at the mikveh at 10:45 because the traffic. By the time I got out, okay, I got out of the airport until we get everything. We get there at 10:30 because there's a lot of traffic. Get to 10:45. The mikveh closes at 10:30. So we asked the guard. They have guards. It's like in a girls' school there, but it's a Chabad mikveh in Paris. The street's called La Petite. It's a whole Jewish neighborhood. It's crazy. The whole street is Chabad. It's amazing to see that. Everything. They have the girls' school, the Chabad Kollel, another base midrash, all the stores, the bakeries, and everyone's Chabad there. The whole street is Chabad. They turned it into Chabad. You feel good. You feel safe there. The butcher shop, everything. Okay. So we get there, and I'm like excited. And the guy says, it's closed already. I say, oh, come on. Can't you get us in? You can't. It's all electronic. It's with the finger. And it closes. The doors close automatically at 10:30. You can't do anything. So let's try. Okay, try, no problem. So we try, and the driver says, come, it's open. They come, but then the middle door says, no, the turning door, you can't get in. You heard the joke I told you about the turning door. That, how do we know that the Tevat Noah's Ark had the mikveh revolving door? How do we know? Because the pasuk says they went in two at a time. So people went into what? The pasuk says that the animals went into the ark two at a time.
Oh, two at a time.
Yeah, so if you know how it works by the religious mikvahs, like a person wants to go and say, can I come in with you? The guy doesn't want to pay, so he can come in with you. So it's two at a time. That's the joke. Okay. So the door's stuck. What are we going to do? and I killed myself to come all the way here to get the mikveh. I paid extra money, and like it's not cheap. It was 70 euros, 50 euros, whatever. So we're trying to figure out what to do. He said, there's another mikveh that's still open. Say, where? Another section that takes like another 10 minutes to get there. So, okay, let's go. The driver took me there. And this mikveh was open. It's in the middle of a school. So there's a boys' school. And there's a second door to go to the mikveh and everything. And we get to the mikveh. And it's cold in Paris. Freezing cold. Freezing cold. Mamash. I was like, cold, like, oh my God. And we get to the shower. Freezing cold water. No hot water. So the guy who's with me says, okay, I can't believe what you breastlovers. He was a Chabad guy. The driver was Chabad. So I never knew what you guys went through. This is for a mikveh, what you're doing. Monsieur Nefesh, I screamed out of pain from the cold shower. He also did. He said, I have to go to the mikveh also. I can't now just stand by and watch you do Monsieur Nefesh and me not. So he also went to the mikveh, and he screamed more than me. And then we go to the mikveh, the filter's on. So I have all these halachic things. Is it a kosher mikveh now because of the filter on? So there's no mikveh because the water is now going in the hole and being filtered, coming out. So I say, Hashem, I did my best. And I went to the mikveh and I was happy with it, okay? And now he takes me to the shul. I say, is there still open? He said, let's take a look. And we see there's one shul there and men are coming out. She says, okay, it's open. Okay, great. So I said, I'll meet you at this hour. Come back to pick me up in like 5 hours, whatever. So I walk into the shul. I can't go in. Why? Every Tuesday, this shul, at a certain hour, like 11:15, the women come in and turn it into a religious women's bazaar shop every Tuesday. So you have pantyhoses and women's ladies' clothing. The whole shul is filled with women. Where am I supposed to daven? I don't know. The driver left already. I'm stuck here. No driver, because we thought men were leaving the shul. So we figured they can still go into daven even though I'll daven alone, but at least I'll be davening in a shul. No shul. They turn it into a woman's, and I start telling the woman, are you allowed to do this? To turn a shul into like a woman's sale, a weekly sale where they sell lingerie and all that stuff for religious women? I'm saying, you're allowed to do this? And she starts giving me this whole schmooze, and I didn't have time to hear her. I have to daven. I'm pressing for time to get my davening. I go down the street, where's their shul? I don't know. And I just was so broken. I just said, Hashem, help me. I just want to daven, that's all. And all of a sudden, a younger religious guy passes by. I said, I'm looking for a place to daven. That's all I need. A room to put down my stuff, or my whatever stuff I had on me. I took everything with me. I don't leave anything by the driver. Yeah, I think I took everything with me. Yeah, I took everything with me because I was scared what if I don't see the driver again? What if something happens? You never know. I had my shtarma with me, my knapsack, my talis, tefillin, my mikveh clothing. So I ask, where can I daven? I just need a room. He says, no problem, come with me. He takes me to a butcher shop, a Chabad butcher shop, where the owner, for whatever reason, he davens late, and he made it for himself like a special back room in the butcher shop where he davens his talis and he has his little stender, and he has a table and a chair, and there's a bathroom there and everything. He said, come. I said, can I daven? He says, yes, Baruch haba. He puts out another chair, he's still davening. So we're davening, and it's like, it's very soon noontime, and I'm like I'm exhausted and I'm frustrated and I'm just weak from all this whole ordeal. And Baruch Hashem, the one thing is, as we finished davening, was the famous 999. You know what 999 is? There's a segula on the 9th month, which is Kislev, on the 9th of Kislev, on the 9th hour, for 9 minutes to daven. It's very special, that davening. 999. So Kislev is the 9th month counting from Nisan. That's the 9th month. And then the 9th hour was that hour, basically from Alot HaShachar. And then they take the days and break it out to Sha'ot Zmaniyot. So the 9th hour was like at 12 something. And then 9 minutes, to daven for 9 minutes. So I just finished my Shmoneh Esrei daven like that. But it was so difficult to just find a place to go to the mikveh. And the driver couldn't believe what I went through. He said, I've never seen such a thing. Only you breastlovers have this type of opportunity. I said, I don't know. So I was cracking up the whole time because I was getting pushed back. I just wanted to go to the mikveh, that's all. And I just wanted to daven on time, that's all. I just wanted good things, Hashem. I'm not looking for hocus pocus. I'm looking to be Moshe Rabbeinu or Har Sinai. I just want to daven for today, and that's it. But the obstacles was crazy. It's like the betisha. And the whole test is to be upset, to be angry, to be dejected, to say, Hashem, what do you do to me? And I paid good money for all this to happen. Okay, in the end, Baruch Hashem, they found me another minyan for mincha. And I was able to rest in that minyan. It was nice, coffee, tea, comfortable, thank God. And I had like an hour to put on my head, to catch up, Rabbeinu Tam Tefillin, to learn halacha. I did no learning that day. I was so upside down, I missed Kriyat Shema. I forgot to say the Kriyat Shema before the Sof Zman Kriyat Shema because I was so anxious about leaving the airport and finding the driver, and the driver was joking from the whole time. But this is what we go through. These are setbacks. These are things that you can look at them one way, say, look, was it worth it? Is it worth it? Look what I'm going through. Is it worth it? Or do you see this as Matey veLo Matey? You're getting somewhere in life. You're getting somewhere, and you're being pushed back because this is how create the vessels for the light that you so badly need in your life. If the light is needed for shidduchim for the kids, or shidduchim for the person, or health issues, or shalom bayit issues, or whatever they're going through, I need light. I need infinite light, nothing less than this light. So you want that light? Okay. Keter. Boom. You want the keter. That means for the keter, you have to be mixed up like crazy. And the tests you are going through are karet. Karet tests where you feel cut off. You feel like Hashem doesn't care about me, doesn't need me, doesn't want me. Look what I'm going through. Look. If now what I'm doing matters, so at least let him help me. Let him help me. And said everyone's against me, even Hashem, Kivyachol. But it's so funny, one thing after the next. The mikveh, and then you go to the shul, and there's a woman's thing. Of all days, the day that I'm there, that's when, and I just walk in, we see men coming out. The driver left me all alone now. He wasn't there to help me. I was all alone. I didn't know who to talk to. It was really a tough situation. But I think I did the right thing. I turned to Hashem. I just said, oh, Hashem, help me. I don't know what to do. And at that moment, somebody came. Amazing, huh? But this is the test. This is now Matey veLo Matey. And with that, I think we'll stop at this point. Okay? And I have something to give you. I don't know if you guys got this. But something to make you smile. Until I get it. Always. Even this is obstacles. Here you go. This is for him. This is for you. This is for you. Smiley stickers. Everyone has seen these smiley stickers, right? You've seen these smiley stickers. All right. Thank you for joining. And Bezrat Hashem to be continued. And only good things. Chazak u'Baruch. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Hashem.
I took 3 buses, 2 were across the street and 20 in